Hey everyone, welcome to the Baseball Brewhaha. It's your spot for coffee and baseball trivia fracas on the daily. Um, we're back at it again. Thanks everybody for joining us. Adam, what do we got on tap today?
We've got players hitting for a high average to start the season, starting hot. Which player to bat above 400 through their first 38 games or more to start the season finished with the highest WAR? And this is inspired by Luis Arraez, who started really hot and stayed above 400. He's now at the taping of the show. He's at 389. So he's really struggling right now, obviously. But this is this is Luis Arraez's year, second coming of Tony Gwynn. I don't know about that. We got some time to figure that out. But here are our answer choices. So who finished their chase to 400 season with the best WAR? Cody Bellinger, Daniel Murphy, Dee Gordon, or Troy Tulowitzki?
Yeah, the Cody Bellinger one, I was thinking that was his 2019 MVP year, and I was thinking that was pretty high, but I actually went Troy Tulowitzki because I in my mind he had like this monster year. He played shortstop, so I assumed that his his defensive WAR, would have been sky high too, and so I actually went Tulowitzki here because I figured his position, and I was thinking he had a huge year offensively. So I went Tulowitzki here. Murphy and Gordon didn't really enter in here. They were never really you know, high WAR players, really. So
Yeah, and I went Tulowitzki in part two because of what you just said, plus playing at Coors Field
mhm.
and the offensive advantage there. Well, let's see what we got. Our correct answer here is Cody Bellinger finished with an 8.6 WAR. Tulowitzki only at 5.7.
Yeah, I was surprised. I'm a little surprised by that number, though. It makes sense. Bellinger had a huge year. Tulowitzki, I think 5.7 WAR was his best year. So, um, yeah.
Yeah, and so taking a look at the scoreboard, shutout again, but
Get a 1-0 lead. Here we go.
Aaron's got the 1-0 lead heading into the seventh Sunday showdown. Hang with us tomorrow. See
Hmm.
how this nail biter is going to finish out. But we're going to talk some more about Cody Bellinger here. So he burst onto the scene in 2017, blasted 39 home runs, 933 OPS, finished winning Rookie of the Year. In 2019, Cody went for 47 home runs and a 1.035 OPS, edging out Christian Yelich for the NL MVP.
Yeah, but since then, for Bellinger, it's been a different story. He had a productive shortened season in 2020, but if you remember, he hurt his shoulder uh, on a home run celebration in the playoffs, and since then he just hadn't been the same player. His combined WAR between 2020, even that good season, and 2022 is just one across 295 games. Nice thing to see Bellinger. He signed with the Cubs in the off season, and he's had a great year so far. He was through 34 games. He had a 1.9 WAR. So in 34 games, he had basically doubled his WAR that he had over the past 295. Gives you an idea of how good of a year he's had right now, and how rough of a stretch he had the past two seasons.
Yeah, and these players had good years for their first 38 games. Let's talk about John and George, half the Beatles here. That's John Olerud and George Brett, who sustained the 400 average for much longer. They're the only two players since Ted Williams to have a 400 average or higher for more than 100 games into a team season. That is incredible to think about.
Yeah.
Olerud was above 400 through 107 team games, while George Brett went through 134 games in 1980.
Yeah, and to clarify a little bit here, this isn't that they were at or above 400 all the way through those games. This is just what was the latest point in the season where they had a 400 average. And so Brett was at 134, but both of them had kind of opposite ways to get there. George Brett had a slow start to 1980. He hit just 259 in April, but he hit over 400 for the next 3 months, and had him at 400 as late as September 19th, which is, game 134. But he struggled in September and tailed off, finished at 390. Rough year. Olerud, on the other hand, he started hot. He was over 400 for much of the stretch, and then he slumped in the second half, hitting just 324, which brought him down to finish at 363 for the year.
Well, speaking of slumps, Carney Lansford, so he has the dubious distinction of finishing with the lowest batting average for a guy who was at 400 or higher more than a month into the season. So in 1988, he hit 337 in April, then 444 in May, and so his average was peaked at 402 on June 6th, and then it went down from there.
Yeah, PETA shut down Carney's circus. Shortly thereafter, he hit 160 in June, 245 in July, 231 in August, 203 in September, to finish at just 279 for the year. He did earn his hot start, did earn him a spot on the 1988 All-Star team. And what's incredible is that his struggles are somewhat surprising. He wasn't a big power guy. He only struck out 35 times the whole year. So he was getting, I didn't look at the BABIP or any of those type of stats to see if he got BABIP to death, but 35 strikeouts.
The unlucky season, putting the ball in play, though.
Yeah.
So good for him. Well, folks, you know what time it is. It's story time. And we're talking about getting a lot of hits. Yeah. Aaron, kick us off here.
Well, so when I was thinking about getting a lot of hits and hitting 400, I actually did all these guys better. I beat Ted Williams even. My senior year of high school, I hit 520, small sample size, 20, I think 28, 29 games, something like that, against mostly pretty mediocre pitching. And so, but the thing I was thinking about is that, and you'll hear guys talk about this in the majors, is that sometimes it just feels like everything's in sync and it feels like you're hitting a beach ball. The thing is so massive, it just feels like you can't miss it when you're on a run like this. So some guys hit like that with some regularity, a guy like Tony Gwynn. And it just, I remember times when it felt like it almost, not only did the ball seem big, but it just felt like you could place it almost wherever you wanted to. And those, there's not a greater feeling as a hitter to feel like you're in total control of the at-bat.
That's an interesting thing that you mentioned, because that's an experience as a hitter that I never remember having. My senior year, I hit 499, but I wouldn't describe it as either beach ball like or being able to place it wherever I was. I just went up there and I was like, am I going to get a hit? Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. And then we just saw what happened. And fortunately, I got a lot of hits that year. And so that was fun. But that's, when players talk about that, that's something that I cannot relate to as a player myself.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things, you put the ball in play hard and you get hits. That's what happens. So, well, thanks everybody for hanging with us today. Join us on another show. Special thanks to Sarah Langs, Slangs on Sports, and Baseball Reference, and MLB for providing us with this cool content. It was fun to explore all these things. If you have a burning question, something you want us to explore, comment below or find us on Twitter. Tweet at us there at Baseball Brewhaha. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and be back tomorrow. We're at it again. Tomorrow, Sunday Showdown. We'll see who wins the week. Thanks, everybody.